kick to the top of the straight, got 5 or 6 lengths on the field, and it was only a horse to come out of pack was Belmont Avenue. Another stride he would have won. Quite a taking debut. Josephs intend to improve a lot for their initial experience. You don't usually win first time out, so the fact this horse could get as close he did would dilute his chances today. He looks a nice type in the ring as well, and he should take, with the experience you'd imagine, take a bit of beating. Santa Barbara, of course, is trained by Aidan O'Brien, and Shamie Heffron takes ride. Daughter of Camelot, she was a big imposing type in her parading. A lot to like about her, as you'd expect, given her breeding. She's from the family of Order of Australia and Katarina, and she could well be one that'll shape up very well at this distance. But given the way the stable horse do improve for their initial outings, she could be all the better for the experience. Number 15, Snapchat, Ken Manning riding for Jim Bulger. Vocalised colt. This one shaped nicely in Gorham Park behind Trusted Ally. There was a lot to like about that. Debut run. The stable couldn't be going better. It was ridden by the stable apprentice on that occasion. Today Kevin takes over. Decent draw in stall 6, and he should well be in the mix if building on that debut. Being by Vocalised, the softer ground the better. He looked perfectly fine at Gorham Park on good ground, but he would be possibly of more interest with a cut on the ground. The horse I was liking most, perhaps at the each way price if you like, was number 8, Kailash, trained by Dermot Weld. Oisin Orr take the ride. I thought this horse shaped very well in debut at Naas over 7 furlongs. The step up and trip is really going to suit. There was just a point at the 2 furlong marker when Oisin wanted to get going, and he didn't have the gears to go and get a position, and a winner quickened down his outside and just forced him to sit and wait, and then he came home in his own time without being knocked about. Definitely a hint of ability. Out of a good dam in Calisima, master crossman, just step up and trip. Ticks a lot of boxes in stall 2 for me. The other Aidan O'Brien trainer runner, Hector de Marie, is interesting. I thought shaped quite well in debut. That Clarity race hasn't just worked out maybe as well as expected. Snowy Owl got beaten in nursery early in the week, but he did shape okay on that occasion, and he stayed going well. And punches on the ground was extremely testing. They called it soft, but it was nearly heavy. He wasn't beaten all that far behind Liffey River, and better ground today for the son of Camelot. Should possibly see him in better light. Drawn out in stall 12. Expect him to go forward and try and make use of his experience. Dazzling Spirit going forward there from Niall McCullough, number 18. This one actually did run okay in debut. Tom Mullins is having a decent time of things with his 2-year-olds, and it'll be an interesting one to see how this one improves. But they're all set fair here for the first race. Very interesting 2-year-old maiden.
In today's opener over a mile, the Irish EBF Medium Size Series maiden, plus 10 race, and prominent as Trusty Scout on the inside of Santa Barbara, being followed towards the elbow by Calaroon in the red cap. Also handy on the outside as they come towards the turn is Star Official, and in the light pink colours, racing up in between horses, Hector de Maris as they settle down. My Minervina's on the outside. Trusty Scout, Hector de Maris, and Star Official. These 3 are followed by Kailash, My Minervina, and in by the rail is Lunar Power as they pass the 5. Dazzling Spirit is next, and then comes Calaroon with Bunte Moi and Santa Barbara, and they're being followed towards halfway by, on the far side, is True Artist. Continuing on towards halfway, and it's Trusty Scout, Hector de Maris, separated by a length with 3.5 furlongs to go. A couple of lengths back to My Minervina. Driven in 4th is Star Official, and then Bunte Moi, who's followed by Kailash, getting reminders ahead of Calaroon. Belmont Avenue is making ground on the outside of Santa Barbara. True Artist is next, and they're being followed by Dazzling Spirit. Heading on towards the final 2 furlongs, and My Minervina is coming there. Santa Barbara has got a good split in by the rail, Hector de Maris, and then comes Star Official, Kailash, Belmont Avenue, and Calaroon, and Santa Barbara under hands and heels has come through to pick it up from My Minervina, and then comes Star Official, Kailash, Belmont Avenue, Calaroon, and Hector de Maris, but up towards the finish, it's Santa Barbara pushed out by Shamie Heffernan to beat Kailash, Star Official, My Minervina, and then Calaroon, True Artist, Belmont Avenue, and Bunte Moi.
Santa Barbara wins quite nicely as well over towards that far side. That the opening race at the Curragh. It's a competitive little affair and has been won by Santa Barbara pretty comfortably. Good start today for Shamie Heffernan and Aidan O'Brien. 9-2 the winner. Lovely Santa Barbara. You've been to Santa Barbara never?
Sorry?
Never graced Santa Barbara with your presence?
Many years ago.
Really?
Yeah. When I was hitchhiking around America, yeah.
Living the dream.
1981, Brass in Pocket by the Pretenders, I think. Was it 81?
I love it. We should probably set up Haydock, but I would genuinely like to hear more about that. This is the opener at Haydock. I didn't think you were going to have been there, but there you go. Lady Hayes is basically halved in price, but at the top of the betting, it's quilted 9-2, just from Hidden Breeze. Not much hidden about the Breeze today at Newmarket, Nick.
It is quite extraordinary, Tom. It's much gustier than yesterday and significantly colder as well. It's going to be really, really hard work. I know the wind is assisting them up the Rowley Mile, and it is blowing behind them, so obviously it's not going to be as hard as it would be if it was blowing across or into their faces, but it does present unusual challenges for the riders, particularly on largely newcomers here. I think that might explain why Magical Charm has been quite well backed. She showed promise on her first start. She's had the experience. She's one of 7 in the field who have had a run. Sunset Bay is the horse you like, Martin Dixon. Why?
Yes, she is. There's a few reasons, right? First and foremost, her debut was really eye-catching at Goodwood. She finished off her race well, and Ed Walker's 2-year-olds are improving plenty for a run. He's sent out 24 of them that have run twice. 4 of them have won, 7 have placed. The majority have improved significantly. So when you bear that in mind with the promise of Sunset Bay's debut, I think she is a filly that should take a strong hand in this race. She looked really well. She's quite a good-bodied filly, and she looked in excellent condition and more relaxed and professional than a few of them.
In the aquamarine colours of Bright Walton Bloodstock, Sheen Murphy there, second from the right of picture on Sunset Bay. OK, let's take a look at one or two of the others here. Quilted is just about the market leader. She's one of 2 very interestingly bred Juddmonte fillies in this race. The other one is Rafe Beckett's Vistella. We'll come to her in a moment. Quilted first of all, though. She's by Frankel. Yeah,
it's an excellent pedigree. Full sister to last season's Fillies Mile winner, Quadrilateral, also trained by Roger Charlton, of course. Quite an attractive filly with a bit of scope.
And the other is Rafe Beckett's Vistella. Arabesque has been a splendid broodmare. This is her 15th foal, and among her first ones were Showcasing and Camacho.
Yeah, fantastic. She's been wonderful, hasn't she? And yeah, she's getting on a little bit now, but still producing. And she's got a Frankel filly here, tremendous pedigree, as you say, Nick. I often think that Rafe Beckett's juveniles will improve plenty for a run. That's not to say that he doesn't get first-time out winners, because he does.
And he had a nice first-time out winner for Juddmonte at Newbury, didn't he? The other day.
He did, yeah. But they do tend to progress with racing, but the stable generally just in tremendous form at the moment.
She's another one by Frankel. There in the middle of shot is, yeah, the ironically named Hidden Breeze, Frankie Dettori for John Gosden in the Strawbridge colours. She's very attractive. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she is. She's from a very good family as well. She's a sister to Lily's Angel, Zariga. Time form ratings of the siblings of 114, 114 and 105. So it's a quality family that Hidden Breeze is from. She's, as you say, a lovely looking daughter of Dark Angel. And she ran at Leicester on her debut. She ran as if she needed the run all round, really, but she did show ability, and she should come on for that.
Wootton Creek is obviously worth a second look. You'd have thought, given that experience and given the way the stable like to do things, that she'll be fairly close to the pace, and that is going to be a significant advantage here.
Yes, she should be. Just a little bit concerning that we've not seen her for 3 months. Yeah. It's very unusual, as we know, with one of Mark Johnston's. She was out in early June. She was obviously ready and precocious and sharp. She showed ability at Chelmsford, but it was only a 3-runner race. She's a Wootton Bassett filly out of a Cape Cross mare. She should actually stay a little bit further in time.
And they're well through the loading process. Another one I quite liked in the paddock was Conservatoire. She's had the benefit of a run.
She must be thought to be quite a bit better than she showed first time up, because she was sent off a heavily backed 5-4 favourite for her debut at Yarmouth, but she blew the start and never got involved as a result of that. But she did show promise with the way that she came through horses in the end.
You don't want to be blowing the start today, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. And as you say, Nick, it just conditions generally. We can't sort of emphasise enough how difficult these conditions are going to be for the young horses in this race. The inexperienced horses, it's just, you know, blowing a bit of a gale. It's gusting around all over the place.
My eye kept being drawn to Saffron Beach, because the first crop of New Bay have done really well. Powerful ownership, the Sangsters and James Wigan. trained by Jane Chapelheim, who can get a debutant winner, and Adam Kirby an interesting booking, and she cost 50 grand as a foal, so I thought, quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a good family. The dam falling petals was actually a Godolphin mare herself. She did win over 7 furlongs as a 2-year-old, and there are plenty of 2-year-old winners in that family.
They are just about all loaded up here. Now, you're going to have to forgive me, I'm not entirely sure who's in the commentary box today, because I haven't had any word. It's Simon. So, Simon, good afternoon.
Thank you, Nick. Good afternoon, everyone. Last one's in. They're ready. All set. And they're away for this Blandford Bloodstock Maiden Fillies Stakes. Pushed along early is Star of Screen. Leading early is Wootton Creek in the silver silk. Sunset Bay Handy in the blue jacket. Primo Bacio on the far side. Saffron Beach. And close up with them is Hidden Breeze, the grey, in the white jacket worn by Frankie Dettori. On the near side is Magical Charm and Carnation in a maroon jacket. On the right, Executive in the pink with the blue spots. Quilted Pink Cap is in the middle of the field at the moment, followed on the far side by Cable News. Looking towards the rear, Star of Screen just behind Vizela, and also Little Sunflower at the back, the white-faced chestnut filly, as they head on now towards the final 3 furlongs, just inside the 3, so about to run past the bushes, which is just over 2 furlongs out. Wootton Creek is just the leader from Primo Bacio on the left. Further left is Saffron Beach, then Cable News far side. Conservatoire tries to run on, then Sunset Bay, and then behind these Nebulosas running on. No more from Hidden Breeze, as now they approach the final furlong. And it's Saffron Beach that's come through under Adam Kirby from Primo Bacio. Wootton Creek stays on still on the near side, but Saffron Beach has kicked away as they race up towards the line, and Saffron Beach is going a good 3 lengths clear, maybe 4, and an impressive win. In second, Wootton Creek, Nebulosa for third, and then Sunset Bay on the near side, sticking on fairly well.
Well, she can do it, Jane Chapelheim, and she's done it again with a newcomer. Saffron Beach has obliged at 12 to 1. There was a bit of money around for her, and she's won in the colours of the Sangsters and James Wigan. Adam Kirby riding, and she's won really impressively. She knew her job, she was sharply into stride from stall 4, and she stretched right away. She could be pretty good, I think.
Yeah, you called her the winner a fair way out. You were confident she was going to win before she got to the front, Nick, and she powered away from them through the final furlong. Very impressive performance. She's obviously clued up. There was money for her, but she's really kept on responding to that Adam Kirby drive.
And my floor manager here today has just reminded me that Jane Chapelheim had the 100 to 1 winner Al Badri earlier in the season, which I was hinting at before the race. Al Badri came out and ran a fine race here on Thursday when finishing 5th. This horse might be a bit better than that. I love the way she strode out. Lydia's watching the replay where they look at her pointer toe in the closing stages.
Yeah, it's really determinedly, isn't it? Having shown a quite good cruising speed, a good attitude as well to cope with difficult conditions for a newcomer. She has streaked right away for some horses that have shown some promising starts to their careers.
Yeah, and the second and third have both had experience. The runner-up was Wootton Creek, always up there. Nebulosa has run through for third and has run really well for Andrew Balding in the Kirsten Rousing Silks. A decent effort on second start for Primo Bacio, had the experience. Likewise, stable companion Sunset Bay and Conservatoire. The second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth had all had the benefit of experience behind an unraced winner.
Absolutely, yeah. The winner looks as though she's really quite smart. The second and third, I think, is going to improve for a trip, aren't they? And I like the way they've both finished off their races. I think next season they're going to get 10 and 12 furlong respectively.
Yeah, I think there's a good few of these that will improve over further. Certainly Wootton Creek is from a middle distance family, predominantly down the dam side, but the winner really dominant in the closing stages, and in terms of professionalism, know how she might not improve loads, because for a debutant she really did know her job well, but still to put distance between themselves and some fillies that had already shown a good level of ability previously is impressive.
But the names Sangster and Chapelheim go back a long way, including on this racecourse, and they team up to win the first race, the Blandford Bloodstock Maiden Filly Stakes. Jane Chapelheim, the winning trainer, Adam Kirby, the winning rider, and the winning filly, Saffron Beach, filly with a future.
Saffron Beach wins at 12 to 1. That was a nice performance, wasn't it? Adam Kirby, Jane Chapelheim combining the colours of Sangster and Wigan. Wootton Creek was second, having been up there throughout. Sam Breach wasn't too far away either, led into 2. Nebulosa ran on for a little bit further back at 12 remainder. So it was pretty tight at the top. Now Bell Image just heads in at 9-4 from Huddle Up, who was a winner last time in a race at Court where the front 2 pulled nicely clear. Fran?
Yeah, indeed, Tom, and Huddle Up showed a very good attitude and determination on heavy ground to win and beat Prairie Dancer on that occasion. They were a long way clear, as you said, of the third. Lovely looking horse in the ring. He looks to have taken his run well, and he does have his penalty here, obviously, for winning that race, but still with 9 stone 4 pounds, stable, couldn't be in better form. William McCreary's at the last month. He does tick a lot of boxes. Riders wanting to know, it's called Good Heel, and most of the riders I spoke to said it's slower than that. There's not much good in it. It's quite tacky, slow ground. So just bear that in mind through the day. That is probably just wants to break down into it could take quite a bit of getting in especially for these juveniles. Number 4, Bell Image. There we can see the picture. That's stable companion there. Of course, Sheila Lavery has 3 runners in this. But Bell Image ran a superb race in the big sales race here on Champions Day. Looked like it was going to pull off a big upset in some respects for Sheila Lavery, whose horse has been running extremely well. It was only beaten a short head and neck behind the 2 English challengers on that occasion. Back into auction, Maiden Company. The way this horse travelled through the race into it, she was really in her comfort zone that day throughout. Slightly slower conditions today, but looking at the way she goes through a race, I don't think that would be a problem. Decent enough draw in stall 5, and she does make a lot of appeal on the back of that good run. One horse I want to talk to is Kind Power, trained by Mick Halford. The price has started to go a little bit in this one. This one ran in a trial at Dundalk most recently on the 7th of September. Trial 4 over 6 trial 1 over 6 furlongs and shaped very well. Deputy Sandy was a length in front of this one, and that went on to win a Nace for Jessica Harrington most recently. And this Son of Dark Angel looked a picture in the ring. He, big imposing type, and I thought he quickened up well into the trial on that occasion before getting tired the last half of furlong. Plenty on show on that occasion, I felt, and looked to have a nice level of ability in the context of this race, and he's definitely one I'd be keeping on side, even if the price is shortened up a little bit from 20-1. Ferry Bank is another similar one. Ted Walsh, Colin Keane taking a ride. Called by Cable Bay, Black Horse in the ring. He looked well, he looked fit, and he also ran in a trial on that occasion at Leopardstown, or at Dundalk, should I say. He ran the second trial over 6 furlongs, and he finished second in that race. He jumped well, he led, and he kept on well. Now, they went by the line 5 horses abreast. The third horse in that trial was Osei, who was mid-division in Tipperary last week, so hard to weigh up that form. For me, the Mick Halford trained runner was the Kind Power, was the one to take out of this race as regards trial races over Ferry Bank, for my money at least. Ava Gardner, trained by Sheila Lavery, Gary Carroll taking the ride, is another one that definitely merits a mention. If this one didn't run in the sales race last year when she was disappointing on soft ground, that previous win at Dundalk when she outstayed Sense of Style, who of course won a Nace last week, was very good. Of the bigger price runners, she does make some appeal. Back on decent ground today, can forgive her one bad run, and that was a good run. Maybe she's a Polytrack filly, but just at the odds, she definitely merits a mention. Rosie Bassett had a hood on the ring. She's a small daughter of Wootton Bassett. She didn't look overly big, quite immature, I'd say, still. She wears a hood first time out for Jessica Harrington. Jessie, of course, has a big day ahead of her. Some high-profile runners, both here at the Curran, of course, with Lucky Vega in the Middle Park at 3 o'clock in Newmarket. Be interested to see how that horse goes after what appeared to be a luckless run, at least in the National Stakes here behind Summer Moon. Dominic O'Brien's horse there going in. Wanzer Wild, called by Beta Brett. Nice type in the ring. You can see him walking in there. Typical of the sire. Nice, relaxed way of going. Donica's might well improve a lot for the experience, but this horse has been reasonably well supported in the market now. Just as I said, he was nice and relaxed and everything else. He's just shied away from the handlers there, but he's not too worried about it or anything. He's just having a look, and hopefully to get around him, he'll walk in nice and calmly. Of the rest of them, it's, I suppose, with the experience will count for a lot. Huddle Up, for me, of the ones that have ran, showed that determination last day, will be fighting out at the end. But for me, Kind Power is the one to watch.
Thereof, over 6 furlongs in the Ford and Equine Irish EBF auction race. Prominent over on the far side, Bell Image in the striped cap. Is followed by Huddle Up, and on the stand side, showing good early zip, is Rosie Bassett as they settle down. Enya Van not far behind them with Ava Gardner in the pink cap. Heading on to the 4, Rosie Bassett is the leader, being followed by Enya Va and Ava Gardner. Bell Image huddle up next, and then comes Super Shock and the Yellow Cap. Ferrybank next, and then Ones Are Wild. Wanson Needs and Kind Power, and they're being followed past halfway by Forge Road. Angle Dirk is pushed along towards the rear. Handbags and Glad Rags and Catherine Crane. Racing towards the final 2.5 furlongs in the Ford and Equine Irish EBF auction race, and the leader is Rosie Bassett and Tom Madden, couple of lengths in front of Bell Image. Then comes Huddle Up and Ava Gardner and Ferrybank, but it's Rosie Bassett still holding on to a couple of lengths advantage over Bell Image. And then comes Huddle Up. These 3 break away from Ava Gardner and Ferrybank, and it's Rosie Bassett strongly pressed by Bell Image over on the far side, who's forging to the front. And it's Bell Image, who ran a big race here in the Valuable Sales race, will win for Sheila Lavery, and ridden by Robbie Colgan, with Rosie Bassett a good run on debut, following in the winner.
Yeah, Bell Image has won. 2-1 favourite in the end. Robbie Colgan for Sheila Lavery, and ground down the long-time leader, Rosie Bassett. That was an excellent debut from her, daughter of Wootton Bassett, in the colours of the Rosie Bassett Syndicate. Some top members of that syndicate. Well done to them. I'm sure be delighted with that, but the winner was very good in the end. That was Bell Image. Off we go to Haydock, 1:30. Dubai Honour is 5-2. Military Mission 3-1. Saligo Bay is for New Mandate, looking to give New Bay a double at Newmarket. But Cobra's up there as well in the betting, and there he is for Clive Cox and Adam Kirby. Let's rejoin Nick.
A smallish field for this year's edition of the Juddmonte Royal Lodge, but an intriguing race, and there is Cove. It is a very big weekend for Clive Cox. It's already gone well with Isabella Giles, and it could get even better with Supremacy in the Middle Park. And this horse, Cove, is improving nicely. He's by a horse that Clive trained himself, Cody Bear.
Yeah, he's got an excellent attitude. He's got strong form as well. His only defeat so far came at the hands of Chindit, who we've seen go on to win the Champagne Stakes at Doncaster, and then last time out he beat Fancy Man and battled hard to beat Fancy Man, who's gone on to win a listed race impressively at Haydock. So he's a progressive horse with strong form, great attitude, stays the trip, handles a little bit of ease in the ground and faster ground. He's versatile in that regard, plenty in his favour.
I do like the horse. You just got to look at Gear Up in the maroon and yellow colours. He's a really handsome looking animal.
Yeah, he's a really nice horse, and he battled really hard to win the Acomb Stakes. He's only ever tried York, so this track is going to be something completely different for him, and I'm just wondering whether it's going to suit his run style. And ultimately, I think he's going to stay really well, but he's not going to fail for want of trying.
No, a mile will suit him, won't it, judging by the way that he's seen out his 2 races over 7 furlongs. The form of the Acomb has been knocked a few times. He beat into second Spycatcher, who went into the Acomb as a maiden with just 1 run under his belt, and has subsequently been down the field in the Champagne Stakes. So I think he's got a little bit to find in terms of his form Gear Up, but as you said, the trip will suit him. The track's an unknown, and just his strength of form is a little bit lower than the others, in my opinion.
It would be a big first 2 race double for New Bay if New Mandate were to win, the 9-4 market leader. He's been strong in the market since betting opened for this.
I really like New Mandate's attitude. I was so impressed with how he managed to win at Doncaster, because you had to be gritty, first of all to squeeze through the gap in order to challenge the leader, and then to wear down the leader in that narrow bit of ground he had between him and the rail.
I'm just a bit worried that he might pull too hard. He's very keen. When he won at Sandown, he got cover on the rail. It was a small field, but he got in behind the leader and got cover with 1 to his outside as well. At Donny, he had to be taken right back, and it took a good while for Frankie to settle him. Under the circumstances, he did well, but in a small field like this, up in trip, he really will have to switch off a little bit better than he has been.
But the stable, that of Rafe Beckett, could hardly be in better form. They've got good chances later as well. Could they net a Group 2 race here in the shape of the Royal Lodge? We will find out with Simon.
And they're off. Away they go, and Cove jumps out alertly from Gear Up. Ontario in the dark blue on the far side, waited with early under restraint is New Mandate, along with Pleasant Man, as they cover the first furlong, and Cove out in front in the hands of Adam Kirby by a length and a half to Gear Up and Franny Norton in second, Ontario and Ryan Moore, and then New Mandate is a little bit keen at the rear of the field and just now preceded by Pleasant Man. On their way now towards the final 5 furlongs in this Royal Lodge Stakes, and it's still Cove out in front from Gear Up in second place. Ontario just a half length further away, another length and a half to Pleasant Man and New Mandate, so little more than 5.5 lengths perhaps, covering the entire field as they continue on now with 3.5 furlongs left to cover. So Cove has dictated the gallop here. All seem to be going well enough in behind. Gear Up maybe just being nudged along now. Ontario's travelling smoothly. Pleasant Man and New Mandate towards the far side on the extreme left. Cove out in front. The challengers now beginning to rain down. Ontario, New Mandate wide, has made good progress. Then Gear Up now beaten, followed by Pleasant Man as they now race inside the final furlong and a half, and its New Mandate has swept into the lead from Ontario. Cove struggling to go with them now. New Mandate out in front from Ontario in second place. There's a length between them. New Mandate is holding on, and the much improved New Mandate goes on to win the Royal Lodge from Ontario. Cove on the near side of Gear Up, fighting it out for third. Pleasant Man at the back of them.
Well, Frankie Dettori's body language suggests he enjoyed that. And there may be an added layer of significance that I haven't tapped into here, but this is a good horse. New Mandate.
He was quite enthusiastic about him after Doncaster. He was saying he's got lots of courage. It was very tight. I was taken by how enthusiastic he was then.
And he was really sort of pointing down to him and making a big fuss of the horse as they crossed the line. He's quickened up very smartly against the way the track's been riding here, and he was a bit keen early. I gave him no chance at halfway. He's deep in the track as well. He must be smart.
Yeah, he's had to quicken up smartly, and that despite, again, taking a strong hold through the early stages of the race. He's got an excellent attitude. He's seriously progressive, isn't he? I mean, he took a couple of runs to get off the mark, but his last 3 runs, he was impressive at Sandown, did well at Doncaster, as Lydia said, and today's another step forward from him, and another winner for New Bay, who sired the impressive maiden winner of our first race. Well, he's just sired the winner of the Royal Lodge.
Well, it's the second year in succession that Dubawi has produced a really eye-catching stallion son, isn't it? We had Night of Thunder last year and New Bay this year, and these horses look as if they can go on and do way better still.
I would be giving up on Gear Up. No. I don't think the track has suited him. I don't think that this tempo of race has suited him either, and I think he's sticking on quite nicely in the rising final furlong, and I think over a little bit further on a more conventional track, either this season or next, he's still a horse of some quality.
Ontario is probably going to be a pretty good 3-year-old as well. He's got the pedigree, so that he's not given up.
And he's built that way as well, isn't he? He's got the scope to go on as a 3-year-old. It's a shame the winner's a gelding.
Yeah.
He just lacked the speed, I think, on Ontario of the winner, New Mandate, who quickened past him, but then Ontario was coming back a little bit at the line. Not that he would ever give the impression he was going to get back up in any way, but he battled on, Ontario. I think Cove had the run of the race and was maybe exposed a little bit in a tougher group race than last time out.
There is the winner then of the Juddmonte Royal Lodge Stakes. New Mandate lands the hat-trick for Rafe Beckett and Frankie Dettori, and the jockey seemed pretty impressed.
Yeah, he did. 9-4 favourite Frankie Dettori, Rafe Beckett in the Mark Chang colours. What a progressive horse this is. He's improving at a rate of knots. There's the sole gelding in that field and has taken it. Ontario was second, 7-2. New Mandate, the winner of the Juddmonte Royal Lodge, 1:37.86 was the time. We can have a look at the time for the opener as well, which is 1:20 down, is 4-1. As his dreams delivered, 4-1 joints at the top of the betting. A touch easy to back is Spreader Empress, 9-2. Tidy Polani is 6-1. Amazing Emma is 15-2, just tucked in half a point, 11-1, and bigger the remainder. But horses 1 and 2 at the top of the card and at the top of the betting here. They can't split them currently. Barrettstown and Dreams Delivered. Let's see what Fran Berry thinks on course.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. You can see the runners at the start here for this trappy 6 furlong nursery. 0-70. The top way of the course is Barrettstown on the back of a Hopefully she sits still for Chris Hayes. Abla, we have to give a mention, of course, first-time blinkers. Colin Keane taking right for Aidan McGuinness. This one had a high head carriage in Cork the last day. It seemed to be just all at sea throughout, and you can see wide connections on the back of that run, where she did stay on to be beaten approximately 4.5 lengths behind Brosna Empress. The blinkers should have a good effect, as will the Store Ground possibly. Connections had a winner last night in Dundalk. Colin Keane had a treble there. He's only 3 behind Shane Foley. We get up to Jerry for the call for an open nursery.
They're off in the third race, the Clark Recruitment Nursery over 6 furlongs. And prominent in the centre is Jazz Dreamers with King Wasp. Over on the far side is Abla with Brosna Empress in the centre. Vivance is on the stand side with Lisabetta. They're being followed in these early stages by Amazing Emma. Heading on now, just outside the 4, and it is on the stand side, Amazing Emma disputing the lead with Vivance and Lisabetta. On the left is King Wasp with Jazz Dreamers and Brosna Empress and Kaidok and Abla as they come inside halfway. Mass Gathering next with Dreams Delivered and then Dream Catcher. Being followed towards the back of the field under pressure is Ballottstown, Equali and Outpace passing the 2 with Social Dancer. Spread across is the grey Vivance with a narrow advantage over Amazing Emma. Lisabetta is getting on terms on the far side. Tully Polani begins a good run with Mass Gathering in between horses. They're racing to the final furlong in the Clark Recruitment Nursery, and it's over on the far side Tully Polani who's come to lead from Mass Gathering, Vivance and Lisabetta, and up towards the finish it is Tully Polani and Gavin Ryan by a length and a half to Mass Gathering, Vivance, Lisabetta, and Ballottstown stayed on well from the back ahead of Equali and then Jazz Dreamers.
Well, she was tricky before the off, but Gavin Ryan's got her home nicely for John Fiend. Gavin Ryan claiming 3. Tully Polani wins quite nicely over towards that far side. Off we go to Haydock, and not too far away from this 205, where Dania is 5-2, Alternative Fact is 7-2, Milltown Star is 13-2, Just Hiss is that price as well. Milltown Star just trimmed in a little bit, 7-1 and bigger the rest. 9 doesn't go, which means 9 run, and the last one going forward is going to be Dania. Just thinking about it. Anything in the betting, Dave?
Well, no, People has been acquired by Coolmore and runs in the colours of Doreen Tabor, and Ken Condon has done incredibly well with her this season, and she might not be done improving yet. I think because she was initially a cheap filly and she was, running early and running often, Martin, people underestimated just how good she was. And you look at that Lowther again, and she's going away from 2 of today's rivals, Sacred and Kulthum.
I think to some extent she's probably taken Connections by surprise as well, but she has just thrived and improved with racing. You look at her breeding, there's a reason why she cost $7,500 as a yearling. Her half-sister Pavarella Shoes ran 7 times in her life and only beat a total of 4 rivals in those 7 runs. It's not much of a pedigree, although she is by Sire Prancelot, who does do well. Look, her form is strong. The Lowther is as good a group fillies race as we've had in Britain this year, I think. And she showed a really gutsy attitude to see off Sacred. I think she out-battled her, she out-pointed her in the finish, and she was strong at the finish, which suggests this stiffer 6 furlongs won't be a problem for her.
Alcohol Free is positive in the market. She's now 4-1 second favourite to avenge the defeat at the hands of Happy Romance.
I must admit that's where I'd have had her. I think she was impressive on her debut. Beat 3 next time out winners at Newbury first time up. She did really well, I thought, at Salisbury from stall 14 when she veered quite violently left a furlong and a half out and was very green, but then she still came strong at the line, Alcohol Free. So she's got potential to improve. Happy Romance is a filly that is tough, honest, professional, really knows her job, and she's going to be in the mix, but she does need to take another step forward. Happy Romance in this company.
6 into 7-2 Alcohol Free. That is a big, big move for Andrew Balding's filly on to complete a fine weekend for him. A last note from you, Lydia?
I like Miss Amulet, as the market does. I just think she was all points on top and outstayed Sacred at York. I think Happy Romance will probably maintain the advantage over Alcohol Free, but I do appreciate that Alcohol Free have got very valid reasons for being able to upgrade her form with more experience and more straightforward conditions. Well, I say more straightforward conditions. The conditions are probably more testing, but she will have learned more and might be able to conduct herself with less greenness in a race.
There is Dan Dalla, winner of the Dutch to Cambridge. Winners of the Dutch to Cambridge, the Lowther, the Dick Pool and many more in here as they all seek Group 1 glory in this year's edition of the Cheveley Park. Dan Dalla, who's been a wonderful buy for Nick Bradley Racing, and not the only one either this season, being shoved forward a little while since we've seen her.
Yeah, it's over 2 months since she ran. She's looking to maintain an unbeaten record. She won the Albany in fine style, then less impressive, but beat a rival in Fev Rover, her owner mate, who has gone on to better things subsequently when we last saw her at Newmarket on the July course a couple of months ago. Still to go in Miss Amulet and Alcohol Free, the 2 market leaders as well. She's just given a little bit of trouble.
This is inauspicious, to be honest. It's getting to the point where this would bother you.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
this win, does she?
Well, you know, she had a setback via to the Duchess of Cambridge, and that was quite a tough race, I think, for her, and we haven't seen her since then. She's being persuaded to go forward now. She will go in.
Right, Miss Amulet and Alcohol Free, the 2 market leaders to go forward. Money continuing to come for Jeff Smith, No Nay Never filly, Alcohol Free, who already looks well bought at 40 grand. Right, up to the commentary box for the Group 1 Cheveley Park Stakes with Simon Holt.
The well-backed Alcohol Free about to slot in for this prestigious 2-year-old prize, the Cheveley Park, the Juddmonte Cheveley Park Group 1 action. 2-year-old fillies, they're often racing, and Miss Amulet was out of the stalls very quickly indeed. Leads to Alcohol Free in the purple jacket. Near side is Illicato. Sacred close up with Dan Dalla on the far side. Yellow jacketed Kulthum alongside Happy Romance, and Zoetic at the back of the field. Alcohol Free now takes over narrowly to Miss Amulet, racing freely on the far side. Kulthum on the near side. Illicato. So with Dan Dalla, and then Sacred, and a length and a half back to Happy Romance and Zoetic, and they're very well grouped indeed as they now race past the 3 furlong marker and past halfway. Alcohol Free, Kulthum being driven along over on the far side. Miss Amulet just struggling to go with them now at this stage. Dan Dalla is coming through. Behind them, Sacred. Illicato on the right. On the far side, Happy Romance is making ground. It's Alcohol Free that leads the way to Kulthum. Happy Romance far side. Miss Amulet is rallying now, having been briefly outpaced on the near side. She's running on very gamely. Alcohol Free, though, still leads the way to Kulthum, and Miss Amulet as they race up towards the line. Alcohol Free all out and wins. Alcohol Free wins for Cheveley Park. Kulthum far side of Miss Amulet, and then Happy Romance.
And a clench of the fist as Oisin Murphy lands another group race for Andrew Balding, this time a Group 1, to add to his triumph with Cameco yesterday. The Rowley Mile's been a very happy hunting ground for this pair this season, and Jeff Smith is the winning owner of this daughter of No Nay Never. She was backed as though victory was well anticipated, and Oisin Murphy gave her the sort of ride that suggested that he thought she could go and get this done, and he was very positive on her. They went a good gallop, and she really pulled out plenty in the finish, seeing off Miss Amulet and Kulthum and Happy Romance. Well, very tough performance, and you were spot on, Martin.
And she went toe-to-toe with Miss Amulet from the moments the gate opened. I mean, Miss Amulet was quick away, wasn't she? Very, very quick into her stride, but then Ryan sat up, took a pull in front and just held her together, and Oisin was very quick to go right up to her and ride this filly positively. She's gone through the race with real enthusiasm at every single point, travelled all over them going into the dip, and then she's toughed it out. Big run as well from Kulthum down the far side of the track. She's a filly I think that will stay further than 6 furlongs and probably improve when she goes up in trip a little bit.
Yeah, this was a purposeful performance in the saddle from Oisin Murphy, wasn't it?
It was, and also the amount that she had learned as well was quite palpable from the World Go. She broke well this time. She didn't go out to her left as she did greenly at Salisbury in the Dick Pool, and she was able to be put in that teeth of the race from an early stage by Oisin Murphy, and that's testament to how much the filly had come on from the previous run. Andrew Balding was really keen on her when he was talking about her yesterday here on Racing TV. I think Miss Amulet has run a solid race. Kulthum has definitely improved, and is improving with every start. I think she'll get 7 furlongs, certainly. And I don't want to make excuses for Happy Romance, because I don't think that I think even if, when you factor in the things I'm about to say, that she wouldn't have maintained her superiority over the winner. But I do think she was a little bit further back than was probably ideal.
And she was deep in the track as well,
yeah,
wasn't
the
she?
first 3 were much better positioned. I think she faltered slightly entering into the final furlong, and just wasn't able to come on. The race also developed slightly away from her.
Yeah, she's run a big race, really, hasn't she? I mean, it's tougher for... I know she's beaten this filly before, but Alcohol Free has clearly stepped forward. The race as a whole was much more competitive, and I think the run of the race didn't go her way. Happy Romance. She's still really genuine, really honest, and she will be able to mix it in Group 1 company even more so than she has today, I think, in future races, as long as she trains on, and her physique would tell you that she will train on.
Yeah, I don't think she's a Guinness filly. I know that Sean Levy and Richard Hannon believe she is. I think she's more of a Commonwealth Cup filly, yeah, absolutely. Whereas the winner, what do we think of the winner?
You'd give it a go, wouldn't you? I think you've got to give it a go.
The Commonwealth Cup was designed to suggest to people that you wouldn't necessarily give it a go. She's not a Group 1 winner.
You would trial it, of course, but for me, she's got loads of speed. But
you could pick up some nice group races en route to the Commonwealth Cup. There's some nice. Personally, that's where I'd stick to.
What, the sprinting route?
Yeah, the sprinting route to the Commonwealth Cup.
Yeah.
But what do we think about the winner's pedigree?
Oh, the winner. I think I would have a go at the Guineas route with the winner.
Oh, sorry, we're at cross purposes.
We
I
were
was
at
talking about
cross
Happy
purposes.
Romance. Sorry.
Sorry. Yes, I agree with you about Happy Romance. This filly, I think you've got to try the Guineas route.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, I'd give that a whirl, definitely. But you'd have to go straight there, wouldn't you, with the Group 1 winner?
I think so.
I'd try her over 7, definitely, and you'd see how it goes. But I think she's got a lot of speed as well. Again, but I mean, she's by no nay never. She's a half sister to Alexander James, who's done well in France. Recently, actually, he's a Class 1 conditions race winner in France, Alexander James, over around a mile.
Yeah.
So there's bits of this filly's pedigree that suggest she will stay.
Onienta, and it's 12-1 and bigger the remainder. Soul Seeker in the famous Moyglare Stud Farm colours heads the betting here, though, Fran, for Sheenor and Dermot Weld. It's a beautiful day at the Curragh in comparison to Newmarket.
Yeah, Tom, it is indeed. It's a beautiful autumn day here, and it's actually great to see some owners here today. I think talking to Pat Keogh, the manager of the track, they're expecting about 70 individual people here on the back of owners being allowed to attend Irish racing since last Monday, and it's great to see just a small smattering of people, but it's small steps, and it's something hopefully we're moving in the right direction. Midnight Fire is just going in there. Freddie Harty and Mark Allo just gone to the stalls there. This horse ran extremely well at the Cork. The draw had a bit of a bear now. Balmari, the winner, was decent on the day, but he had a high draw in comparison. Midnight Fire was drawn low, had to do a lot of racing on the far side of the track on his own. I thought it was a good run. He's been progressive. He ran extremely well here on soft ground. 2 starts ago over this course in distance, and comes here in the back of some decent runs. Rating is 74 is probably fair enough in the context of this race. He has a chance. The only concern is he wears a tongue tie as usual on his 4 starts. Not ideal, perhaps on quite tacky ground. Soul Seeker is favoured, and a worthy one, I suppose, at that. Very, very good comeback run after almost 10 months off at Navan over that 5 furlong trip. Just lacked the gear down the hill into the dip with 2 furlongs to go, and then stayed on okay without being knocked about, but plenty. You'd imagine there was a bit to work on there. Up a furlong and trip as when he was second at Naas on the last day of the turf season last November, nailed on the line by Elusive King on that occasion. Has a lazy way of racing, but you imagine with the comeback run under his belt, to step up and trip, and ground conditions on the slower side, it should be ideal for him, and it does look a good opportunity for this horse to get off the mark. A rating of 79 is probably the level he's ran to date. Stalingrad is in the stalls there, I think, for Chris Hayes. Takes over on the right. Of course, Chris is meant to be in Newmarket today. That was an aborted trip, and he's changed a number of rides today, including this horse. And there was a lot to like about that debut, when he was well punted on debut. Warfront Cold. Race hasn't worked out all that well. He ran fine. He was second. The winner was Big Price Soaring Monarch. He's gone on to run well in handicaps in the high 70s and rated 80, high 70 to 80, early 80s. But of the ones that was in behind him, very few have come out at maiden, and you'd have to have question marks about the form. And given his sire with this ground on the slower side, it would be a bit of a question mark. Of the rest, of number 15, Sonita, I thought made a very good stable debut for trainer Andrew Kinsella. in Limerick. I thought there was a lot to like about that run, given it was a stable debut. Dropped down to 6.5 furlongs. I think this is very interesting, down to 6 furlongs today. Could well be her best trip. She travelled very, very well for a long way under Kevin Manning, who rode her in all her starts for Jim Bulger as well. And if you go back to that run in July in Gorham Park over an easy 7 furlongs when she was beaten a length and a half by Maud Gone Spirit, that was quite good. She was rated in the 80s at one point. She's regressed a little bit on ratings, but I thought there was plenty of hope there for based on what we've seen the last day. Glowworm is out the back there. Perhaps she hasn't gone into stalls in stall 10 yet. It's hard to see it. It's on my monitor, but she's very, very consistent. She's due a turn at some point. Just seems to find one too good for her. Very effective on all sorts of grounds. Straight track seemed to suit her best. Didn't run one of her better races at Cork and Handicap Company. She seems to perform better in maiden companies, and today the extra furlong will help her. Stiff 5 seems to suit her at 6 furlongs here, but she's had plenty of chances too. We'll get up to Jerry for the call. It looks a good opportunity in my mind for Soul Seeker.
6 furlongs, it's the Equisoft Live Maiden, and well away Limit Long over on the far side within the centre. Sofalanka, Glowworm is handy on the stand side with Stalingrad and Soul Seeker and Majeski Man. They're tracked by Midnight Fire as they continue on inside the 5 furlong point. And it's on the stand side, Glowworm showing in front of Stalingrad, Soul Seeker, Majeski Man. Midnight Fire next with Royal Hideaway, and they're tracked by Laurel Grove and Gold Allure. Over on the far side in front there is Limit Long, but they're trading the runners on the stand side. Sofalanka, Sinanta, and then comes Hod's Girl. Racing inside halfway in the Equisoft Live Maiden, and it's Glowworm on the stand side, the leader from Stalingrad, and Majeski Man. Beginning a run in the middle is Midnight Fire, and then Royal Hideaway. On the far side is Limit Long with Sinanta. It's Glowworm still in front with a furlong to go from Midnight Fire, who's trying to challenge, and then comes after a couple of lengths break Soul Seeker with Gold Allure running on to good effect. It's Glowworm all out from Midnight Fire and finishing fast Gold Allure. Midnight Fire on the far side of Glowworm is close between them, and then is staying on in 3rd place Gold Allure.
Well, that is tight. They started off side by side in 9 and 10 respectively, and they've come home side by side, although a small gap between them. Glowworm near side, Midnight Fire far side, and it'll be heads up, heads down. No doubt about the 3rd, that's Gold Allure. What happens on the line? Glowworm looks as though he's losing out here. Midnight Fire far side, and then Glowworm gets his head down possibly. Oh, that is tight. That is very tight. Dave, you've got your glasses on, go on.
Well, I've got my glasses. I can see an exchange screen, but Midnight Fire is 5-1 on. But they were quite animated, their heads going up and down, but at the line...
on at that. I mean, it's really...
Well, we were. You weren't in for that. Oh, yeah, you were for that photo the other day. I still can't believe that.
Over 6 furlongs, Group 1 contest, 9-4 is Lucky Vega from Method, and Minzal at 100-30. Supremacy is 13-2. It's 10s and bigger. The rest, isn't it?
Lucky Vega back to 6 furlongs, winner of the Phoenix Stakes when comfortably dispatching the Learjet. Lucky Vega subsequently was either unlucky or perhaps not quite seeing out the trip in the National Stakes, combination perhaps of both. Back to 6 he's going to be ridden positively, surely.
Yeah, I certainly think unlucky. I think hard to draw conclusions about the trip for him after the National Stakes, really. He got no luck at all through the final couple of furlongs and finished with more to give. The Phoenix was impressive. This is a better Group 1, a deeper Group 1, a tougher race for him, but he's still got that standout piece of form coming into the race with that demolition job of the Learjet over in Ireland.
And then you've got the trio of Memas colts. The first season Cyrus made such an impact. Method, Minzal and Supremacy. Of the 3, which do you like the best?
Tough call, isn't it? Tough call. Like, it's not a race that I've got a really strong view on. All I think is it's a fantastic renewal of the race. It's really competitive. Method, I think, would top the list, certainly in terms of his potential. I loved Minzal's performance at York, don't get me wrong, but Method has put up 2 big performances, good time figures on both occasions. He's beaten horses that have gone on to frank the form in Fev Rover and also Mighty Gurkha, winning from that rival easily at Newbury last time out, Method. So it's a big step up in class in theory, but he has beaten horses that have performed and won at group level on both of his starts.
Method is in those Martin Mead colours, and Frankie Dettori takes the ride, white with the black disc and cap. Minzal in the Sheikh Hamdan silks for Jim Crowley, and Supremacy looking to give Clive Cox another important 2-year-old success. And Supremacy is a powerful colt. Lydia, you were making a case for him at the beginning of the programme.
Certainly the prices. He burned off all of the opposition. Yazaman, I know he features in lots of form and hasn't really advertised it much for anybody really, but he had to fell into second. Supremacy was all over the winner at all stages and just a really impressive wide margin winner. I can see this track suiting him well, and I just think he's overpriced.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all in terms of his price, and certainly he's the obvious front runner as well. I think, isn't he? The way that he was ridden quite aggressively at Goodwood last time out.
Tactical's 11-1, dual group race winner, beating Yazaman both times. I should say, sorry, listed winner of the Windsor Castle, then a Group 2 winner at, on the July course. Would you simply attribute his run in France down to really heavy ground?
I'm prepared to believe that might have contributed. The form of the July Stakes hasn't been, advertised. He is the great weapon that he has. I think he's completely straightforward and reliable. And if these slicker conditions are what he needs, then I think we can definitely expect a better performance, put it that way.
William Buick riding in Her Majesty the Queen's silks with a Sheen Murphy in the Qatar Racing silks on the Learjet, who oughtn't to be completely forgotten, the Norfolk Stakes winner.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he was readily put in his place by Lucky Vega, but he did have to travel over there, and there are some excuses you can put in, and he might be able to regain his level of improvement, but he does have quite a margin to turn around with Lucky Vega.
Tactical and the Learjet both fall into that category of Royal Ascot winners that have maybe been exposed a little bit, I think, up in grade. They've got to improve, in my opinion.
And Lipizzaner would be a significant success for Coolmore here. He's by Uncle Mo, and the one missing gap on Uncle Mo's TV is a Group 1 winner on turf in Europe.
Absolutely.
So I'd say they quite fancy that, and that might be the reason why he's running here. The Learjet, I think, will be the last one forward for the Juddmonte Middle Park Stakes, Group 1. Here's Simon.
They're all set, the Group 1, Juddmonte, Middle Park, and away they jump. And fast into stride with Supremacy, who leads through the first furlong from Charterhouse. On the near side, the Learjet, Lipizzaner going forward now. Followed then on the far side by Tactical. At the back of the field, Method is very keen in the early stages. Minzal being held up at the rear of the field. Lucky Vega is handy in about 4th place as they race through the first quarter mile. And it's Supremacy leading the way, but being held together in the hands of Adam Kirby. From Lipizzaner in 2nd place. Moving up is Tactical on the outside. Lucky Vega is right there. Charterhouse towards the outside as they now stretch across the course. Back in the pack is Method, and then the Learjet, and on the right is Minzal. Entering the final 2 furlongs in the Middle Park. Supremacy comes under a drive now. Lucky Vega challenging out wide Tactical in the royal colours. Then Charterhouse. Minzal is trying to get on terms from Lipizzaner. The Learjet, Method fading away. It's still on the near side, Supremacy. Lucky Vega is a persistent challenger out towards the line. Supremacy is nothing if not game in front from Lucky Vega, and Supremacy is supreme in the Middle Park and wins from Lucky Vega. Minzal on the near side of Tactical, 3rd and 4th.
Oh, what a weekend for Clive Cox. He took yesterday's edition of the Rockvale Stakes with Isabella Giles. She's bound for the 1,000 guineas. This horse looks a raw ball of pace. Supremacy. He's taken down the Middle Park, and he's done it in style. You can call him the winner from quite some way out. He was positively ridden by Adam Kirby. He's beaten a Group 1 winner in Lucky Vega. With Minzal, he was never really going to win from where he was. He's run a good race in 3rd, a solid effort from Tactical as well ahead of Lipizzaner, and a decent enough run from the outside of Charterhouse, but Supremacy's well on top here.
He is. It's a tough performance, a very game performance as well, to hold off the previous Group 1 winner, Lucky Vega. He came into the race 2nd top rated. He's improved his form again in a tougher race than Goodwood last time out. And Clive Cox, what can you say about him? I mean, he's a remarkable trainer all round, but particularly these sprinters. Lethal Force, Golden Horde, all the 2-year-olds that we've talked about this season. He's got another one on his hands here and another Group 1 on his hands.
Andrew Balding and Clive Cox taking away the 2 Group 1's here this afternoon, Lydia?
Yeah, absolutely, and Tactical's run an admirable race as well for Andrew in 4th place. I think the winner was very much suited by the conditions, the way the track's riding, the track in general. He is able to relax really well in front. He's got the scope to make up to a 3-year-old. I think this is a Commonwealth Cup horse, definitely. And I prefer him to, physically, as a 3-year-old to the runner-up. I think he has the frame to find more. And I certainly won't be writing off Minzal. He's the kind of horse you could see running back at the Nunthorpe, couldn't you?
He's quick, isn't he? Really quick, Minzal. And he's impressed again with how he's travelled. He's never tried 5 furlongs yet, but we've seen with his wins over 6 coming into this race that he's got raw speed, a high cruising speed and pace and gears. And that position there, in contrast to Supremacy, is a tough one to overcome, and he was keen over racing as well.
To stop the race here after a furlong, Supremacy's relaxed on the front with a tailwind blasting up his backside. Method and Minzal are out the back. Method's too keen, and you're going to have to be an absolute superstar to win from there.
The clues for Method being too keen were there in both of his starts. He is going to have to learn to relax if he's going to be able to give of his full ability. And these conditions, the gust, the wind, we're always going to test him in that way, and he just wasn't equal to it at this stage. I think Minzal's run really well.
He's a very good horse, isn't he? And he is very much a sprinter all over, Minzal. And there'll be other days where he's able to showcase that speed more than he's been able to today. Good, straightforward ride from Kirby on Supremacy, who the horse himself makes it quite easy, it looks like, for the jockey, and he's always given that impression.
The Learjet's run a good race. He's starting to look like a horse who almost might want a bit of a trip next year.
Interesting.
Yeah, for a Norfolk winner. But it was a nutritional Norfolk, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where he really had to dig hard to get on top of the stiff finish. I know you think the Royal Ascot form's not worth a hill of beans, Martin.
I just don't think he'll be a Group 1 horse, but he's run well, hasn't he? He's stuck on well.
But you're right, I mean, in order to get past Golden Pal, he had to wear him down. That was the quicker, speedier, bang 5 furlong horse, and the Learjet actually just had to grind on top, and maybe he might do better up in a furlong.
This horse is just a really good horse, Supremacy, and look at him, he's got the physique of a fast, powerful animal, and that's exactly what he's proven today. Lydia told you at the beginning of the show, she told you before the race. Are you sticking around, or are you just going to call it a day?
I think I'd better call it a day. It gets more difficult from this point onwards.
I would if I were you. 13-2, Supremacy. Lucky Vega 5-2 favourite. Minzal 7-2 third as we head back to Tom.
Time was good as well, respectively, for all of our 2-year-old contests today. 109.73. It's just outside of standard. 13-2 Supremacy, the winner. Lucky Vegas second, 5-2 favourite. It's about half a second outside of Earthlight's record last year. Minzal third, 7-2. Half a lengthy winning distance for Supremacy. The excellent weekend on the Rowley Mile continues for Clive Cox, and let's confirm that time for you. Supremacy 109.73. Seconds one, it's 11-1, and bigger the remainder. So some big prices in there, but high definition is now 9-5, having started at 15-8. They're loading up. Here's Fran.
Yeah, loading well underway. High definition created a very good impression when winning here at this track on a straight mile. Got checked once or twice in his run, had to switch and finish off to really good effect to beat his stable companion Wordsworth. Done it very nicely. The horse that I liked most of the bigger price ones, the Woodcood, trained by Dermot Well, thought he made a very good impression on debut at Gowran Park and getting up to win and win nicely. Just looked raw on that occasion and really finished off well under mainly a hand ride. Bear in mind it's a round mile here today. The draw can be key. The favourite is drawn out in stall 13. Stable companion Brazil. I'd expect him to go to the front. He showed good battling qualities once he got out and got rolling the last day. Can often suit front runners. See how the pace holds up.
That's the 13, Snaprateria. That's it. They're off. They're away on level terms, and this is the Alan Smurfett Memorial Beresford Stakes Group 2 over a mile. Prominent is Rev de Vol with Snaprateria and Ides of August. They're tracked by Woodcood and the Pink Cap, being followed across to the round track by Jack Duggan. Brazil is on the outside in the blinkers, and then comes Manasib, lifetime legend and Ace Aussie. And then comes on the inside Southern Cape with towards the rear, Sir Lucan, High Definition and Nadakaz at the top of the track. Racing just outside the 5, and it's Naprateria, and on the outside in Improving Brazil. These two have opened up a 3-length advantage over Rev de Vol, and then Waku, Jack Duggan and Ides of August as they head down towards the halfway stage. Manasib is next, then Ace Aussie and Lifetime Legend. Sir Lucan, Southern Cape and the White Cap is 2 behind Adikaz and High Definition. Racing round the home turn with 3.5 furlongs to go in the Alan Smurfett Memorial Beresford Stakes, and it's Naprateria leading by less than a length to a Driven Along Brazil, couple of lengths back to Rev de Vol and Wakud. Ace Aussie's on the outside, and then comes Manasib with Ides of August and Jack Duggan racing towards the final 2 furlongs, and it's Naprateria in front from Rev de Vol. Wakud beginning a run in by the rail is Manasib, weakening as Brazil. Sir Lucan stays on with Southern Cape down the outside. High Definition and Ace Aussie racing towards the final furlong. Naprateria is claimed by Manasib, with High Definition staying on to good effect inside the final 150 yards, but it's Manasib in front. High Definition on the near side with an explosive turn to foot and continues his ascendancy. Beat Manasib, Naprateria, Sir Lucan next, and then Rev de Vol.
God, stop it. High Definition, the 9-5 favourite, has got up to win. I mean, it didn't look as though it was going to happen. Given the odds that the horse started at, it never went that big in the run. But, goodness me, it still touched 90 odd in the run. I mean, you're not surprised. Just absolutely rattled home down the wide outside to take the Alan Smurfett Memorial Beresford Stakes. And wins the Shane Cosley in the end. It's one of those juveniles that's ready to step up to 10 already, I think. That's a lovely performance in the end from High Definition. Son of Galileo gets up to beat Munasib and stays on very strongly to win. Bet365 Cambridgeshire, Tempest is 9-2, Derivo 13-2, 7-1 for Sinjari and 9-1 Ambigger. The rest, they are amassed behind the stalls ahead of the feature.
It's an absorbing running of the Cambridgeshire. Of that, there is very little doubt. Tempest is the horse for significant money now as well. 9-2. Derivo in the second colours of Prince Khaled Abdullah, 13-2. Sinjari, 7-1. Belrock, 9. Montatham, Sinjari's stable companion, 11-1. Fifth position, 14. Martin Dixon, you made a good case. You carved out a solid case for Sinjari earlier today, and you are in good form.
Look, I think he's the horse with the best form. That's all I'd say. I thought the John Smith Cup was a strong race this year. Subsequent events have kind of proven that, with the likes of, I know they've been over longer distances, but the likes of Yukon Glen, Tinandali's run well since. Certain Lad, who was runner-up and reopposes here, has obviously gone on to prove himself in better company, winning in Group 3 company since. And Sinjari did well to run him down. He's still an unexposed horse. He had strong form in his 3-year-old season, and I think a strongly run 9 furlongs will suit him. Is he on the right side or the wrong side drawn in stall 6? Well, we don't know that, do we? But recent renewals have been dominated by the higher stalls, and I thought there was more pace in the higher numbers. We've got Majestic Dawn, who's a free-rolling front runner in first-time blinkers as well. We've got Birth Force 1 in stall 17. So there's a couple of pace angles and Data Protection as well in stall 21. So there's plenty of pace high. There are a couple of potential front runners in the low numbers as well.
Yes. Derivo is 13-2, the second coloured Abdullah runner for Sir Michael Stout and Ryan Moore. He's got a little bit of pace and class, this horse. He made quite a stylish move before being beaten last time.
He did. At Doncaster, he's officially £3 well in. He runs off the same handicap mark as at Doncaster today, 95, but he is now officially rated 98. He was run down by a 3-year-old Improver, straight of Hormuz, and it was a good move into the race at Doncaster. You're right. He's had a few chances now, and excuses are kind of building up. He's been favourite for a good few races this season, Derivo, but there's no doubt he should be competitive again off his mark. He's probably a skinny enough price, I'd have said, at 13-2. He wouldn't make appeal to me at that price, but obviously in an open race he's one with a chance.
Belrock attracted support earlier today. It's not a massive surprise. I thought he ran very well at Glorious Goodwood. It was the race that was won by Meidani, and Meidani got loose, and Bell Rock was quite strongly fancied and just was never really going to get there.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot in his favour today, Bell Rock. He looks like he's been laid out for the race. He goes well fresh, hasn't had a whole lot of racing through his career. He did win first time back this season, and we've not seen him since July the 28th. He's won 2 times already on the Rowley Mile, so the track suits him. It won't suit all of these horses, and he's drawn right near the pace as well in stall 24.
Is it you that's just backed Kryptos 100s into 80?
I'll tell you what, I thought, you remember sort of 3 years ago, Kryptos was one of the favourites, wasn't he? Yeah. And then he did a tendon, I think, and had to be off for a few years. But if you go back to Chester on his penultimate start, he ran really well. And he actually finished upside Straits of Hormuz, who beat Deriva. That was a good run, and then last time out he was too keen in a small field at Sandown where they went no gallop. Didn't suit him well. I think he's an in-form, well-handicapped horse, Kryptos, and it wouldn't shock me if he ran well.
But there's loads of in-form horses who've got pattern race ability in this. Sabuska is definitely one of them. Certain Lad, another one, 5th position. And Montatham, Lydia.
Yeah, he won a really strong renewal of that mile handicap at York. He then was unseated by a listed race, the tempo of it last time at Sandown. He's going to need to be in a group of horses that A, give him cover, and B, sustain the pace long enough for him to deliver one challenge late. Because I think that's what he's going to need in order to see out the 9th furlong. Slightly interested in Well Hahn. I didn't mention that earlier on. But I think Well Hahn, this extra furlong, is going to be right up his street.
He was only just behind Tempest, wasn't he, at Ascot last time out? And he's slightly better off at the weights.
Let's just have a look at how they bet. It should be pointed out that John Gosden and Frankie Dettori have taken the last 2 runnings of this, most recently with Lord North. Al Rafar's a 20-to-1 shot and apparently unconsidered, but he is a 3-year-old. The trip is clearly the big question with him.
Yes, and that's, I think, a genuine doubt. He's up 2 furlongs in trip. They've probably wanted to have another dart at the race and not had much for it.
They're all in for the Cambridgeshire. Here's Simon.
A mile and a furlong. And they're off. Tolfaris has blown the start and trails early on. Bear Force 1 well away with You're Hired. On the far side, Sabuska going forward from Montatham. Celtic Art is also blazing the trail down the centre of the course. On the near side in the green jacket, Majestic Dawn is close up with the pace, followed by Tempest and a pink cap, 4th or 5th on the near side group with Shui Feng, Dubai Mirage, Lucanda, and looks like something might have gone amiss with Mutafani, the jockey looking down, and that one's well adrift over on the far side. Celtic Art leading on the far side from Sabuska, Montatham. And then Kryptos over there as well, and Walhan and Sinjari is being chased along on that far side. Near side, Majestic Dawn from Bear Force 1. Then You're Hired. These are tracked then by Shui Feng and Tempest in a good position. Dubai Mirage, Lucanda, Anything Today, Data Protection. And they're followed back in the field by Bell Rock, who's just being pushed along towards the back of the Power of Darkness, 5th position. Balgair towards the back. Al Rufar and Frankie Dettori with lots to do at the moment as they continue down the Rowley Mile. Good Birthday is towards the back of the field as well. Power of Darkness being driven along. Certain Lad is now making some progress. Majestic Dawn is the overall leader on the stand side, and those on the far side appear to be struggling, and Majestic Dawn has kicked away, gone 4 lengths clear as they race down now towards the dip. Majestic Dawn on this side in the green jacket, chased by You're Hard, Lucanda, Dubai Mirage, and then behind these Bell Rock. Tempest is trying to run on. On the far side, Walhan is leading the way, but they face an uphill struggle as they race now inside the final furlong. Majestic Dawn burning right down the stand side in the hands of Paul Hannigan, has taken the field apart, wins the Cambridgeshire by 4 or 5. Lucanda second, Bell Rock running on, You're High, Tempest on the far side.
Well, 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 in the first time blinkers, Majestic Dawn has sprung a 40-to-1 surprise in the Cambridgeshire, which has not one winning trainer, but 2 in Paul and Oliver Cole. Paul Hannigan, who had had such a troubled time of it before making his much-storied comeback earlier this season, rides his arguably most significant winner since that comeback. And from about halfway, we all looked at each other and went, well, this isn't going to stop. And he didn't.
No, he didn't over-race in the blinkers. He was just very enthusiastic. He settled nicely, didn't he? And he just got in a really good rhythm out in front and was able to skip away from them at a crucial stage. If we follow the run of Bell's Rock through, he had a bit of a troubled passage under Oisin Murphy. He could never really open up until it was too late, and I think he would have been a clear second if he'd have been able to get out sooner, but the winner was just away and gone 2 furlongs out.
Good run from Lucander, continuing the fine run of Rafe Beckett's horses. He's finished in second place. That's a massive run from You're Hired, who produced that freakish performance here on the Rowley Mile in the early summer, and he's come through. I think You're Hired for third.
It's a real blanket for third.
He's been, I don't know, it's close.
Rock might have got there.
Yeah.
Left-hand side, they're really disadvantaged over there, aren't they? Particularly Montatham, I think. As I was saying before the race, I think he needs cover to take him through. Instead, he was pretty much in front on his far side group at 2 furlongs out.
A lot of the good horses, Montatham, Sabuska, Sinjari, they never had any shot at all.
Well, Hahn was over there as well, absolutely.
Whereas Majestic Dawn just makes his merry way home.
Well, 25's beat 27. Bell's Rock was in 24, I think, and Dubai Mirage is in there in 29.
We need to try and identify the first sort of 6 or 7 home for those of you who've had each way bets that go all the way down. Hopefully we might just be able to do that. If we could get another angle and try and identify the first few, that would be quite useful.
I think I'm actually saying this was a horse that ran in the King George V handicap last year and tried to sort of dominate that race from the front over 1.5 miles. And he, dropping back in trip, he looked a lot quicker. Last of 10 on his sole run this season at Kempton, showing nothing, but coming right back to the form he was showing at the back end of last season here. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to know whether there was sort of an element of them, obviously, to run well in this race last year, whether it was very much a plan to give him a run and have him straight after a run and to get him to 100% for today.
Okay, hopefully Tom will be able to give you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and however many you need in this year's Cambridgeshire, but there's no doubt at all, Tom, about who's won this race.
Yeah, that's the winner, Majestic Dawn, Paul Hannigan. First time blinkers the horse. Great for Paul Hannigan, the season he's had as well. He had a brilliant couple up at Ayr last week, and he's just been in fine form since he returned. Worked so hard to get back, and here he is riding the winner of the Bet365 Cambridgeshire. It's great to see for him. And Majestic Dawn has beaten Lucander. Bell Rock was back in third, and You're Hired was back in fourth. And I know some bookmakers were paying Dan's at 8, so I will look to give you those when we can, but we can't confirm them just yet. But that is the winner. Majestic Dawn beats Lucander, beats Bell Rock, beats You're Hired. 25, 27, 24, 16 with the stalls. Right. The result stands at Market Raisin. There was no change to the placings at Raisin at all. So that was, as we gave it to you a little bit earlier on, Cawthorne beating Jessica Rabbit. I'm hearing it's a new track record. I'm hearing
back in sprint race. Obviously the English challengers, Summerhand, I actually had him ahead that he's best in big field sprint handicaps, but he's actually had 8 of his 10 wins in single figure fields. Ground would be a concern for me. Southern Horse is the one I was liking most of the Irish contingent. Second run for Jessica Harrington. You can upgrade the run in Cork on a stable debut over 7 furlongs the last time when he had a low draw. Shane Foley switched to get across to the stand side, missed a break, and he finished off very, very well. Now he's got to build on that a little bit, but he was placed here last year behind Speaking Colours and ran well in the track another time as well. So he's an interesting prospect. He looked good in the ring. I must say Ventura Rebel looked extremely well in the ring. The cheap piece on him today, and they tried Visors the last time. He's interesting if bouncing back to that Commonwealth Cup run at Ascot in June. Hasn't been quite as good since, but he did look a picture. See number 9 going in, Romantic Proposal. She was drawn the wrong side the last day. Interesting contender. She's open to further improvement.
In Club Renaissance Stakes, down force over on the far side disputes it with Schroeder's Mistake. The grey handy is Forever in Dreams and Lil Grey. Another grey is there in the fanning line with Romantic Proposal, Urban Beat and Summergand, and then comes Truth Prevails, being followed by Ventura Rebel, who's out the back, along with Southern Horse. Racing on towards the halfway stage, and the leader is Forever in Dreams, moving on a length in front of Lil Grey, Romantic Proposal, Schroeder's Mistake, Urban Beat and Summergand, with Downforce, Truth Prevails, Son of Rest. Driven on the stand side is Ventura Rebel, and then Southern Horse. They're coming inside the final 2.5 furlongs, and this side it's Forever in Dreams, being followed by Romantic Proposal, and then comes Urban Beat. Ventura Rebel is getting into it. Over on the far side is Summergand with Schroeder's Mistake, Southerton Horse next from off the pace. Racing inside the final furlong, and Romantic Proposal comes to lead. Ventura Rebel, Forever in Dreams on the near side. Isn't done with yet. These three, not much between them. Running up towards the finish, it's Ventura Rebel, a form of group compensation for Declan McDonough. Forever in Dreams next, and then Summergan, Romantic Proposal.
Yeah, one of the British Raiders wins it. Ventura Rebels, Declan McDonough, first time cheek pieces on, and 10 to 1 shot has won, having come out of stall 11. Battled on nicely to take that. One of the 3-year-olds in the field, and job done for Richard Fahey Antique. Ventura Rebel, the winner of the Group 3 Renaissance Stakes at the Curragh. Nearly done with racing today. It's where we started the action. And this is the 355, Division 2.
Immediately make a beeline up this stand-side rail. I assume they will.
That's what I'm thinking. So if that is the case, then Mystery Angel, potentially at least, could have an advantage.
Could have the run of the race.
She could have the run of the race.
Rafe Beckett's horses are in irresistible form, and he's got 2 with chances, but they're both drawn low. Iconic Queen and Muir Amour.
Yes, the low draws might be the problem. I mean, Moa Moore, of the 2 of them, would make the most appeal. She shaped very well at Doncaster last time out. We saw the runner-up of that race come out and finish second in the Rockfell earlier on this week here at Newmarket. So there's already been a boost to that Doncaster nursery form. I would say that Moa Moore didn't shape quite as well as Nazuna did in the Doncaster race, but still it was probably a strong race, and she cost 300,000 as a breeze up horse as well.
Yeah, Nazuna did run a massive race yesterday, belying her previous form and indeed her rather diminutive stature. They are heading behind the stalls. Lydia has rejoined us, shivering away on the step. Oh, any last thoughts?
Well, I like Muir Amour as well. Obviously, there's the doubt of the draw. I also thought the Colorado was interesting. I thought she would very much enjoy the step up and trip. She's going to be breaking from 6. Spirit of the Bay has also caught my eye twice so far. I'm not sure that this task is the one that I would have envisaged for her, though.
There are 1 or 2 at huge prices I'm mildly interested in. My eye keeps being drawn to Ocean Eyes, because she's been set some ridiculously difficult tasks in her career, and has occasionally been backed as though the connections believe that she's got a lot more ability than she's shown. This is a little bit more realistic, and she's got very little weight and a good rider on board. So,
Chip?
A question mark, but that's not the only question mark. Let's face it.
She's a very big price anyway, isn't she? She needs to bounce back from a couple of below par runs, and as Lydia intimates, she's got to prove herself at the trip. The Spirit of the Bay at a big price. I thought she could have improvement in her still. Obviously, the stable are flying along. William Cox takes off £3. She's only been given 69. She's hit the frame on both of her starts so far, when she has looked green on both occasions as well.
But as you'd expect, with reasonable prize money on offer here, this is a pretty warm fillies nursery, and we are down to about the last 3 or 4 here, I think, to go forward. Off time, we're past post time now, and this is the penultimate race of this Cambridgeshire Festival, with Renaissance Rose, the 9 to 4 market leader, to take this for Charlie Appleby and William Buick. We will hand back up to the commentary box and join Simon.
Yes, it'll be interesting if that track bias we saw in the Cambridgeshire will be borne out over this 2 furlong shorter distance. That you'd have to bet they'd all want to be coming this side. Even Asheen Murphy from stall 1 on Neptune's Wonder. Be a bit of a surprise if he stayed on that far side after the evidence of the last race. So 2 or 3 to go in now. Just waiting for Drum Quinner, who's due into 10. Colorado is out the back. Stall 14 should be filled by the Flying Ginger, who's not installed yet. And stall 2 for Morgiana. Big field to load here. 1 or 2 possibly a bit reluctant. 14, stall 14 now filled by the Flying Ginger. And it looks like 2 to go. Drum Quinner and Morgiana. Paul Hannigan on Morgiana from stall 2, looking for a double after his runaway, romping win in the Cambridgeshire aboard Majestic Dawn. Drum Quinner needing some organising due into stall 10 here under Martin Harley for Alan King. It's looking promising, and so just Morgiana now, stall 2. And then we'll be set for this British Stallion Studs EBF Jersey Lily Fillies Nursery over the 7 furlongs. Morgiana and Paul Hannigan. Morgiana fitted with the blindfold, entering the stalls between Neptune's Wonder and Iconic Queen over there. And that's it. They're off. Away they go. Neptune's Wonder went slightly right-handed from stall 1 over on that far side. Mystery Angel and Say If You Will making a beeline for the stands rail. The others heading towards the centre more or less, with Spirit of the Bay up at the pace. Renaissance Rose, Neptune's Wonder on the far side. Muir Moore is handy with Iconic Queen on the far side as well. Towards the near side of the group, Masharia Moore and Diamonds at Dusk in an orange cap just behind Ocean Eyes. And then Hilarity on the right of the group. Drom Quinner is towards the back of that pack. Morgiana is towards the back on the far side. On this stands rail still, it's Mystery Angel with Say If You Will. They are apart from the others as they now enter the final 3 furlongs of the Jersey Lily Fillies Nursery. Spirit of the Bay down the centre, and the white cab. Ocean Eyes is right there. Renaissance Rose, Muir Moore coming there strongly with every chance. Iconic Queen, Neptune's Wonder still on the far side. They're chased near the near side by Mystery Angel, Say If You Will. The Flying Gingers running on a bit from Mushery and Moore. Moore and Iconic Queen on the far side. Down the near side, Mystery Angel is running on well from Say If You Will and the Flying Ginger. Moore and Iconic Queen battling hard far side. Mystery Angel charging down the near side. Mystery Angel is going to get very close here and better than that and wins down the stand side from the Flying Ginger. Say If You Will close up this side. Far side, Muir Moore winning the battle with Iconic Queen.
Well, it's definitely favoured the near side, hasn't it? And it's gone to Mystery Angel this side as one, having come out of stall 17, 13-2. Muir Moore, who was put up by the score, Andy Stevens, I think was a touch unlucky having won that race far side, but had been on the wrong side. 1.5, where Full Moon Magic is 5-1. Peregrine Run is an 11-2 shot. Shoemaker is 7-1. 8-1. Rock on Shamey, 9s and bigger the remainder. Full Moon Magic is a 5-1 shot here for this 420 at the Curragh. Let's get a quick word on course with Fran Berry. Not too long last few going forward. What do you think, Fran?
Yeah, Tom, wide open handicap. You can make a case for most of them. One that I liked at the bigger prices was Hazran. I thought he ran very well in Limerick for a long way, and he showed decent form in the past. Maxine O'Sullivan riding for Eugene O'Sullivan, he's definitely of interest, but a wide open race. And recent Revelations is ridden by Eloise Elliott, Gordon Elliott's niece.
Handicap. Peregrine Run is the first to show with Belgo Prince, and Hazran improving on the inside. Cardinal Rule with in between horses Shoemaker and then Buckman Tavern. Rock on Shamey, Maria Christina and Full Moon Magic, and El Tren last year's winners on the inside of Ling Shaw. Fina comes next, and they're being followed by Custer's Mistake and Place des Vosges as they continue now to race on up towards the mile mark. Van Wert is towards the rear with Recent Revelations. Another one out the back, Chess Grandmaster, and Commentariolis brings up the rear. Beginning now to meet Rising Ground up to the top of the track in the Tipperary Crystal Ladies Trophy, and it is Cardinal Rule and Jody Townend disputing the lead with Shoemaker and Aileen O'Sullivan. On the outside, parked out too wide, is Belgo Prince and Sheila Hearn, and they're followed at the bend, 7 furlongs from home, by Buckman Tavern and Anya O'Connor and Maria Christina. Rosie Hill on the inside, being followed by Rock on Shamey. Hazran not far behind them with El Tren, Full Moon Magic, Ling Shore, Peregrine Run. Place des Vosges next with Fianna and Custer's Mistake and Van Wert. They're being followed inside halfway. A couple of lengths after Van Wert. On the descent for the turn into the straight is Chess Grandmaster, and then Recent Revelations, Commentariolis as they race inside the final 4.5 furlongs. And it's tight for the lead between Cardinal Rule, Shoemaker, Hazran, Belgo Prince, and Place des Vosges Improved, and then Buckman Tavern, Rock on Shamey, Maria Christina, El Tren, Full Moon Magic, Peregrine Run, Fianna, and then Ling Shore, being followed round the home turn by Van Worth and Custer's Mistake, 3 lengths to Chess Grandmaster, Commentariolis, and Recent Revelations. They straighten up for home. 3 furlongs to go. Cardinal Rule headed by Shoemaker. In the centre is Hazran. Place des Vosges on the outside of Rock on Shamey and Buckman Tavern. And after them is El Tren with Maria Christina. Custer's Mistake in the middle of the track is running on ahead of Peregrine Run. Cardinal Rule over on the far side just wrestles back a narrow advantage. Buckman Tavern in the centre is pouncing. Place des Vosges on the outside. Up the rail is El Tren with Fianna racing up towards the finish, and El Tren and Joanna Walton are set to win back-to-back runnings of the Tipperary Crystal Ladies Trophy from Fianna, Buckman Tavern, and then Cardinal Rule, Place des Vosges and Ling Shore.
Yeah, they did it last year, came out of 12 last year, out of 6 this year, and El Tren wins for Joanna Walton and Aidan Howard. Lovely performance as well, all changed late, and yeah, she's delighted with that, and rightly so. I think she was pretty confident as the race developed. For all it didn't look too likely over towards that far side. Couple of furlongs from home. El Tren has won it for a 2nd win in this contest.
For Roger Fell, who won this race a couple of years ago. 18 to 1. They go without 6 and 8, leaving 8. 4 to 1 the field, and Documenting is the market leader as we head back to Newmarket for the final race.
Come to the stand side.
Nicholas Lightfoot, thank you very much. Yes, Documenting on the hat-trick here for Kevin Frost and William Carver. How tough do you think his task is today, Martin?
Well, a mark of 105 isn't easy to defy in a handicap. He could have found tougher ones off his mark. He's not been put in that deep, particularly, and it's a relatively small field, and he's a banging form horse that he's now proven himself on the turf. He's done it at Ascot and at York. Whether he'll do it at Newmarket would still be a little bit of a doubt for me. Obviously the different configuration of this track, and
they obviously think he's not well handicapped now. They're claiming 5 off him.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, he's not well handicapped, I don't think, is he? 105 is a very, very high mark, and he's going to have to put up a group class performance, nearly certainly a listed class performance, to be winning a handicap of 105. So he's not well handicapped, but he's thriving, and he hasn't been put in the toughest spot.
See, I think this is quite a competitive race.
It is.
But
it's not uncompetitive, but it's equally not. You could go for a, well, it's not the Victoria Cup, but you know what I mean. One of the really big, tough 30 runner handicaps off 105, whereas he's been found a weaker one that's worth a little bit less.
I'm as a Tom Frey fan, I'm a little concerned that the horse ran quite poorly in Documenting's race last time.
Yes.
And for no obvious reason.
I was about to say,
however,
how do you account for it?
I don't, but the yard's in great form. He has shown effectiveness at Newmarket before. Maybe it's his time of year. He takes his racing generally well, as we saw as a progressive 2-year-old. And more than once this season, he's run really well. He's just chucked in a couple of clunkers along the way.
Yeah, the penultimate run at the July course, that would put him right on the premises here. There's another run earlier in the season that would as well. Yeah. But I couldn't find a reason for the run last time.
I mean, Newmarket he loves, doesn't he?
Well, he appears to act on it well, yeah. And the market's found him pretty readily today. 9-2 second favourite behind Documenting at 4 to 1. Cry Havoc is a 9-2 shot for Ray Guest and Ben Curtis. Ray has his horses in form, and she is completely unexposed, Martin. How high do you think she might fly?
Yeah, she's a good filly. I think Ben Curtis may have had the option of riding Presidential. He won on Presidential earlier on in the season at Doncaster, and he regularly rides for the Roger Fell yard, so he's probably had the choice there. She's got to come onto the turf for the first time and prove herself on the grass, because she's only ever raced on the all-weather.
Arigato's got to have a chance here, because he likes it here and his sights have been lowered. Josie Gordon, owner Emma Banks, was on Luck on Sunday last week, said Arigato's practically married to Josie Gordon, who does seem to get a good tune out of him.
She really does, and he and she were thriving in the earlier part of this season in June and July. She's had a couple of tough asks, and Arigato's had a couple of tough asks the last 2 times. I think 7 furlongs is better as well than a mile that she faced last time in really hot company.
3 wins on the Rowley Mile as well.
He might have the best of the draw as well. I know the stalls are over, sort of in the middle, but he still might have the best of the draw in 9.
Good well have.
Just a possibility. Vale of Kent has become a complete enigma for me. I've no idea what to make of it.
I think that's the... he just blows hot and cold, doesn't he, Vale of Kent? He's still a horse that... He's worth that rating of 104 on the pick of his efforts this season, but he's kept so busy that he inevitably does throw in the odd poor run.
But he's 5-1, which tells you that he's not out of it from a handicapping point of view, and if he returns to the sort of form that saw him run such a good race at Royal Ascot, he's a danger to everything.
I like this track for him as well, and the trip. A sort of stiff final furlong for over 7, I think, is good for him. And as you say, the 4th in the Royal Hunt Cup, the 2nd at Epsom, both of those would put him on the premises.
They're so tightly matched, the front few in the market. Fleeting Prince is a 13-2 shot, and again, this is a more realistic race perhaps than some of the ones he's been asked to contest.
I think he's in really good form at the moment. A really good 2nd at Chelmsford City last time, only a pound higher. That puts him in with a shout.
And he's gradually found his feet over this trip, hasn't he, this season, Fleeting Prince. He's stepped up on his last 3 starts. He was beaten, of course, by Cry Havoc last time out at Chelmsford, but unlike Cry Havoc, he is at least proven himself on the turf in the past.
Chelmsford is due off, but Chelmsford are going to wait until this race, which is a pleasing bit of cooperation from the not near neighbours, but the eastern-based racecourses. Chelmsford will be off as soon as this is done. We're a little past post time, but this is the final race of what's been a very enjoyable, if rather blowy,
bracing
festival. Bracing, indeed, is a very good word. John Hunt was saying yesterday that it was absolutely Baltic up in his commentary position, but no such complaints today from the rather hardier Simon Holt.
Indeed. You've got to be a man for this job, Nick. Yes, interesting last race. Going to be tight, I think. They're set. And they're away. Presidential, maybe the blindfold a little slow to be removed, and Trails in the early stages. Pushed along is Tomfrey, and many more runners this time after the last race, the Nursery, heading for this stands rail, with Vale of Kent going forward as he often does. Arigato next to the fence in the green sleeves. Gallipoli is wide, and then Cry Havoc, followed by Fleeting Prince, Tomfrey, and documenting towards the back of the field with Presidential. So Vale of Kent, Franny Norton has successfully got across to the stand side running rail here from Gallipoli. Fleeting Prince in the mauve jacket on the outside there, followed by Arigato. Cry Havoc, the filly, is chasing these leaders. Presidential on the outside, and at the back in the noseband Tomfrey alongside the orange jacketed Documenting. On now towards the final 2.5 furlongs. They're approaching the bushes over on the other side of the course, and it's still Vale of Kent from Gallipoli. Fleeting Prince out wide now, being pushed along from Cry Havoc, and then back to Arigato's going to need a lot of luck from there. Documenting is running on well now from Presidential. Gallipoli, Vale of Kent trying to rally under the rail. Fleeting Prince and Cry Havoc inside the final furlong. Gallipoli, Vale of Kent trying to come back the near side. Gallipoli by a length, now by a half length. Vale of Kent running on strongly and might get back up, and does so. Vale of Kent has pulled it out of the fire from Gallipoli in second, Cry Havoc in third.
Stand side, he gets there. Vale of Kent 5-1 up the running rail. Franny Norton, Mark Johnson, the first win this calendar year for Vale of Kent, getting up to tonight. Gallipoli in the last at Newmarket. Now, thanks to Chelmsford, they waited ahead of their first race, which is the 4:45. We're running
one of the first to show in front with these days, and on the rail is Breaking Story. Protagonist is there in the firing line with Yolong Warrior. On the outside is Kafak as they settle down, coming round the elbow, and it's McCabe followed by Yulong Warrior. Kafak is on the outside, then comes Breaking Story. And these days, as they straighten up, Protagonist next with Maker of Kings, and from the Colders on the outside of Carry the One. And they're being followed by Dance Jupiter and Luke Short. Jassar next in the pink cap. At the back of the field, Mythologic and Mudlahim. Racing outside the halfway stage, and they're tightly grouped. McCabe is the leader from Yulong Warrior and Breaking Story. Protagonist, Kafak is on the outside with These Days and Maker of Kings and Carry the One and Luke Short and Dance Jupiter. In from the Cold, Jassar next, and then comes Mythologic and Mudlahim. Racing towards the final 3 furlongs, it's McCabe and Kevin Manning maintaining an advantage of a length over Yulong Warrior and Protagonist. Breaking Story, Kafak in the centre of the track. Maker of Kings followed by These Days, looking for racing room, and behind them is Dance Jupiter. Carry the One makes ground in the centre. McCabe is headed by Protagonist. Maker of Kings, Breaking Story. Carry the One picks up on the outside, then Dance Jupiter, who's got the split. Jassar next with Mythologic in the middle of the track. Carry the One hits the front from Protagonist. Mythologic is coming home strongly on the outside of Dance Jupiter. Carry the One from Mythologic. Carry the One makes amends for an untimely incident here last time out. Beat Mythologic, Dance Jupiter and Maker of Kings.
Yeah, well, much compensation for Carry the One, who was put through the rail effectively after a furlong and a half the last day on his last start here, but gets up for Shane Kelly in good style in the hood. He was a course winner here 2 starts ago and has done it in very, very good style. Dance Jupiter, keep an eye on this one, the favourite. Got trapped down the rail momentarily for a few strides. See Shane Cross here just working his way through the field, runs up the back of Breaking Story, down the inside Sam Ewing, who hasn't got much room on the Gerlines train runner Maker Kings. He's come back out, but Protagonist is up there throughout, but it's left to Carry the One and Shane Kelly to quicken through and build on the promise of that Curra maiden win here when the horse who beat Finn's Bay went on to win impressively since. Mythological has ran much the best of his race for a while, and he's come on very, very well. Jassar there in the pink cap in Hamdan Mal Maktoum's second colours briefly looked like he was going to do something at the furlong pole before his effort petered out. Dance Jupiter, lack of experience, maybe just trapped down the rail. He's had to weave his way through the field. Didn't get a clear run until all too late. At that point, the winner was gone. Mythological down a second had the momentum up. He's probably the horse to take out of it, but a good win and keeps up the good run of the Johnny Murtagh stable, and nice compensation after a nasty incident here the last day.
Yeah, potentially really nasty incident avoided last time, actually, back at the beginning of August at the course when going through that far side rail and galloping on towards the winning line at the other side of the rail. But justification and vindication for the faith put into the horse that day, winning today. Now, we move on to Listowel. They've got a couple of races still to come, the 5 o'clock and thereafter the 5:30. But this 5 o'clock, the Shanahan Power Handicap Chase is run over 3 miles. Something Sweet, 9 to 430. Dead Heat, 7 to 2. Rudy Cottrell, rare bad run last time, but likes to get on with things on the front end and sets it up 4 to 1. Glorious Galway, 9 to 2. So Bob, 17 to 2 from 10s. 12 to 1. Classic Concord. Father Jed is 16 to 1. I can't say at 20s. Caller the Loon at 25s and 33 to 1 about Peculiar Genius. In the sunshine, we head over to Listowel. It's been a great week, and we're coming towards the end of it, and it's back to Kevin O'Ryan.
Yes, many thanks, Nick. It's been a cracking week's racing down here, some great action and a great spread of winners as well. Willie Mullins has been confirmed as the leading national hunt trainer for the week. Red Mills kindly sponsored that. And Something Sweet on the Michael O'Sullivan, I think a very valuable 7 off, is our favourite for a penultimate race of the week for Roger McGrath. Yet to win over